So I will try to start giving an introduction about the LoRaWAN certification. So I hope you are already familiar with the LoRaWAN standard. Then I will try to explain why the LoRaWAN certification is important for your product, and then continue with an LCTT introduction, describing the most important feature and how to get it and how to use it. So it's a really easy to use the application, actually. So the goal of the LoRaWAN certification and why this is important to certify your product is to ensure the correct behavior of a LoRaWAN device, and just to avoid compatibility issues in a LoRaWAN network, in the real network. So this is a certification. So this is a LoRaWAN protocol testing. So where we are just testing that the LoRaWAN implementation on the end device is correctly implemented. A good benefit of getting the LoRaWAN certification is that your product could be able to carry the LoRaWAN certified logo, and this will be also included in all the promotional marketing in the LoRa Alliance. So the product will be listed in the LoRa Alliance website and those kinds of things. The LoRaWAN certification currently is only available for end devices, and this includes now the LoRaWAN version 1.02, where only Class A devices are supported. And for LoRaWAN version 1.04, this has been extended for Class B and Class C devices. A part of this, so there is also the option to request the certification by similarity, and I will come back to this later on. So if you are thinking about getting your product LoRaWAN certified, you have to follow a really easy process. So, and in some steps, you will be able to get it. So the first step is an optional one, of course, but it's a really helpful, a really important one. So it's just to contact the LoRa Alliance to get the LCTT, so the LoRaWAN Certification Testing Tool. This tool is available for all the members. It's free, so for all members with one license for free, and additional licenses are available for additional fee. And this testing tool is really important and helpful if you are wishing to get the LoRaWAN certification, just to test your product in your office, and just to make sure that your product is ready for the LoRaWAN certification. This will save some money, time, and all you need is the computer where the LCTT will be running, a standard LoRaWAN gateway where could have 8, 16, or 64 channels. The only requirement on the gateway is that the standard LoRaWAN packet forwarder is running on it, and then your end device, to certify. So the second step is just to prepare your product for the LoRaWAN certification. So important is that additional to the standard LoRaWAN certification, you have to include an additional certification protocol. So this means to be able to run the certification, the LCTT will use some test commands which are sent in the port 224, and the end device will be able to respond to those commands. And in this way, it's possible to run all test cases sequentially, and it's not required any interaction on the device. So those test commands are really important, for example, to trigger a reset on the device, or to trigger a change request, to trigger a make command, or just to switch between confirm and unconfirmed uplinks. It's also important the echo command, just to verify that the decryption and encryption of the payload is correctly implemented on the device. So, and those test commands are really important just to verify all test cases defined in the LoRaWAN certification. Once this application, is important to see that this application is slightly different if you are interested in verifying LoRaWAN version 102 or version 104. So, for example, for the version 102, the end device requires a test mode. And this test mode will be enabled at the beginning of the test. And during this test mode, it's expecting a special behavior of the device. So the device should send periodically uplinks, disable the duty cycle during this time, and in the uplinks, it's expected that the downlink counter is included, just to be able to check how many downlinks have been received. On the other side, if you are interested in the LoRaWAN version 104, we try to adopt the certification just to try to verify that the standard application is working properly, to avoid that the test mode is working, but in the real life you have some issues. So the whole testing is almost done in an application with the standard application mode, but still a certification protocol is required with some test commands. So those test commands are important, for example, to set the uplink periodicity, just to say to the standard application to send uplinks as much as faster as possible. So those testing could take between 5 hours, depending on the region. And for Class B and Class C, the additional testing is quite faster. Once your device is already prepared with the certification protocol, you could then run the testing with the LCTT. And the next steps are really easy. So you just need to contact an authorized test house to get a quote, to get a testing schedule, or then send the whole information about your device with a questionnaire. You must send your product to be able to run the test. The testing will be done in the authorized test house in an anechoic chamber. And important here, something new, is that for over-the activation, the LoRaWAN version 104, there is a testing also available in the LCTT, which is the retransmission spec of testing. So those logs are also important. This testing, just checking that the transmission of the joint request follows the description of the LoRaWAN standard. The problem is that this testing takes around 35 hours. So it's expected that those testing are run on the device manufacturer before sending the device for the certification. The authorized test house will collect all the information, run the test cases using the LCTT as official testing tool. So this is important. If you have used it as pre-testing, you can be really pretty sure that you will not find any issue after that. And once the test cases are all successful, this information will be shared to the LoRa Alliance, will verify everything, and then if you are lucky, so congratulations, your product will get the LoRaWAN certificate, and then will be also available in the LoRaWAN showcase. So, and of course, you will also be able to carry the LoRaWAN certified mark. So this is a really easy and quick process. In few steps, you are able to get it. On the other side, it could be that your product integrates already a pre-certified ready module or a pre-certified end device. In this case, you may request the certification by similarity, which really simplifies the whole process. So in doing this, in this case, so the LCTT also includes testing for this. So it's a certification by similarity. This is required for the version 104 currently. And this testing could be done already by the device manufacturer. So it must not be run by the test houses. So for this, you don't need any test application, any test mode, any certification protocol running on the device, the testing will be done using the standard application. The only requirement is that you must set an uplink periodicity as faster as possible, just to save time running the test. So, for example, if the uplink periodicity is about 10 seconds, the test could be run in less than 10 minutes. So it's a really easy test where only the activation, so make command, and the reception of the downlinks in the first and second window, and the confirm downlinks with the corresponding acknowledge, and those kind of features are set. So once this testing is available, the next steps are really similar to the other one. So you must still contact an authorized test house to get the code, send the questionnaire with a self-declaration that your product is based on a pre-certified device, send the already generated logs, and the authorized test house will review the whole documentation, send it to the LoRa Alliance, and you will get also the LoRaWAN certified. So this is just how the standard process is to get the LoRaWAN certification. And now I will start with the LCTT demonstration. So I just prepared a quick video for this demonstration. If you are interested in a live video, I'm also in the demo zone, so you can visit me. If you have any question, we can also answer there any questions you may have. The LCTT is actually a Windows application, really to use, so really easy to use and user-friendly application. You just must follow all Windows, the instruction of all Windows, and yeah, you will get everything running. So once you start with the LCTT, so the first thing you have to log in. And the first time you run it, you must enter the license. So this is something you must get from the LoRa Alliance. So you could check that everything, the software requirements, everything is running. And then here we could stop. And here it's important to see that the test packets, the test cases package versions, those are the releases where included, where the test cases implementation are included. So it's important to say that this once a test package is released, this will be automatically downloaded and installed by the LCTT. And it's also recommended to use this last version, because this one will be the version to use in the LoRaWAN certification. So then you are able to select here the technology package to be used. And then here you could start just creating a new project. There are different options like exporting a project, importing a project. This is really useful if you want to exchange your results with any college. Here I will create a new project for Europe version 104. And once the project is created, you have to select, so add a gateway and a device. It's everything you need. If the gateway is not listed in the LCTT yet, you are able to create a new gateway. You have to enter some description of the gateway if you like. And it's really important to add the configuration file, the FAT to add where the LCTT should copy the configuration file. This is just for the remote configuration of the gateway. So once the characteristics of the gateway are there, you could just add the basic setup configuration of your setup. So here there are the regional parameters band. So we could stop here again. So you could select here the frequency band. So for example, US, the version, the LoRaWAN version 102 or version 104, and the testing purpose. So it didn't stop. Okay, perfect, thanks. So the difference, there are different testing purposes here available. So if you could use certification testing, pre-testing, or here is the option for the similarity and also the retransmissions backup. If you are using the difference between certification testing and pre-testing is that for the certification testing option is the one to be used in the authorized test house. So this is only available if you have some requirements. So for example, for US version, a 64 channel gateway is required. Or it's really new in this the user interface. You are also able to run the certification with 8 different gateways, which include 8 channels each. So it's a way to manage a 64 channel gateway. So for the certification, 64 channel gateway is required. If you are interested in the pre-testing option, this could be also available just with one gateway with 8 channels. The problem is, so the only difference is that the LCTT has been modified some test cases to allow this option. So you cannot ensure that the 64 channel gateways will work so perfectly, but it's really a good approach. So it's this is something we could use. So for the test, I prepared with Europe pre-testing. Then you need the gateway IP address and the computer IP address where the LCTT is running. The next window is to summarize all those parameters, so you could check that everything is correct, and then go to the next one. And here, the only thing needed. So yeah, this window is also an important one. So this is also a new feature of the LCTT. Is there were in the past some problems because the channels configured on the gateway, they were not the same as the channels required by the LCTT for the testing. So this is a really important issue. So that's why the LCTT has been updated to include a remote configuration of the gateway. So here it's important to say where the LCTT should copy the configuration file of the gateway and how the LCTT is able to run the LoRaWAN packet forwarder. With this information, the LCTT will automatically update the configuration on the gateway. You must ensure that the correct access to the gateway is available, of course. So this will be done with a normal SSH connection, for example. So you can enter the credentials for that, and then you can continue. So with those information, the remote configuration will automatically be done. Also important to say that the gateways has already started? Not yet. Okay, thanks. That the gateways, there are some different chips built on the gateway, and this is also an important setting here because the configuration file is slightly different. So you must select the correct chip, also the correct interface is SPI or USB. So with this information, the gateway will be configured and the packet forwarder will be also automatically start. In the next window, you could check that the communication with the packet forwarder is also working properly. So passed. So, and then you could go to the next window and then just add a new device under test. So here you have to add to select the Boolean parameters, so like the LoRaWAN version you are implementing, the LoRaWAN version, so the region, the version, class A, class B, or class C, and also over-the-air activation if this is available. And as non-Boolean parameters, the activation parameters are the important ones to get the device connected to the LCTT for the test. So once the application key, device UI, you could also select the address to be used by the LCTT for the test. When you select the device under test, then the LCTT will show you all the test cases available for your setup. So those test cases are required if you want to run the LoRaWAN certification. you could just select all applicable test cases, or you could just pick up some test cases that you are interested in. So for this demo, I just select 2 of them to spare some time. And if not, we have to stay here for 5 hours. So, and then you can go ahead and start the test. And once the communication with the gateway is achieved, the device could just start the join request. The LCTT will send the corresponding join accept and all the test command to activate the test mode, or just to change the uplink periodicity, and all test cases will be run sequentially without any iteration on the device. So in the trace window, you will have all the information about all messages exchanged between the device and the LCTT, including payload, port, frequency, data rate. All those information is also included in the logs generated. So in case you find any issue, you are able to analyze them, to debug, and to fix everything on your device. Also important, so the port 224 will be deactivated after, so in an authorized test house, before sending the product back to the customer. And that once all the test cases are generated, so are finished, you are able to generate a test report. It's also a document where you could have all the information already show in the trace window. So with the frequency and all messages exchanged between both. So yeah, I hope it was really simple and really easy to use. So some additional testing, a part of the LoRaWAN certification, is the radiation performance testing. Is also a really important service to know if your product is, so to have more information about the TX, the transmissions power, and the sensitivity figure of your product. And don't forget that if you want to market a product, it's also important the regulatory approvals, which are not part of this LoRaWAN certification and not the scope of the LoRa Alliance. But so if you have any question about LoRaWAN certification, on anything, you can just just raise it here, or just contact me later on. Yeah, thanks. And looking forward to seeing you. Thanks.